Yo guys, this is Reinhardt, it's your favorite Russian talking, and today we're gonna be ranting. We're gonna be ranting about developers and the WTF moments that you guys ever came up with. So this rant is going to be about developments, about those moments where you like just start scratching your forehead and you're like, the fuck has developer thought about bringing that kind of mechanics? And I really want to know your opinion as well before I get started. And I actually made at least five MMOs that come up with a broken mechanics, ranking from less to worst. But I want to watch you, first of all, after you watch this video, or maybe you don't watch this video, maybe you're gonna close this video, you don't like my accent, you like my appearance, yeah, there you go. But no, in all honesty, if you watch this video, please put out your experiences and what you thought was the most overpowered abilities you could possibly get. And I guarantee you, I promise you, for this week, I will read your comments. So, my list goes first of all to World of Warcraft being actually, believe it or not, the least horrible experience when the developers fucked up. But nevertheless, let's keep going. The very first one goes to a smoke bomb. The fucking Blizzard has actually a boner for bombs. Frost bomb, smoke bomb, atomic bomb, anything that there was a bomb, it has to be overpowered. What is wrong with our audiences? Because the smoke bomb, when it came out, it lasted 10 seconds and it could preparation. So Rogue can literally have up to 20 seconds of consecutive smoke bombing. It was beautiful, absolutely stupid to shits. The flag carriers were just like crying against the smoke bomb, crying. Imagine this, the smoke bomb collapsing everything on a flag carrier trinkets lips out only to find himself to get gripped back into a smoke bomb because it lasts for 10 seconds and the rogue will be prepped and smoke bomb again. And between all the roots and everything, flag carrier will go down like a fucking cracker. But the smoke bomb was not only that was overpowered. That strike kill was ridiculously strong. I remember I was surviving for about 40 seconds against a 2700 RMP on my DK by just death striking, and then Lineage healing. I played Frost a little bit back then. It was easiest. Right, I'm not gonna even go there. Okay, the other things that completely pissed me off and made it this WTF developers were you thinking about when it comes to Blizzard is the first one is the hunters do the correct damage, the stampede does correct damage. The fuck the focus. Honestly, remember the days where they stampede global people? I'm ranting about Mr. Pandar right now. Yeah, that shit was stupid and broken. 5 stacks of Taste for Blood. A Warriors Heroic Strike 300k. Anybody enjoyed it? No? Anybody enjoyed the bestiality provided by a fucking hunter? BM's Hunter Zoo? No? So, yeah. Frost Bomb. Oof. But the winner in Mr. Pandara for stupidity design was, the first one is Temple of Cockmashit, because the Temple of Cockmashit actually supports the burst classes. Burst class with a lot of speed. For example, a Guardian Druid will do perfectly fine there. My dog is trying to get out, that's why I'm putting my hand. Buffy! Stop it, girl. It's actually the dog that we adopted. Come here. Buffy. 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 There it is. That's the third dog we have. Look at this. Look at this angelic face. You would never ever thought that this cute dog, it's actually her. This cute dog will fart worse than Professor Pewterside. Honestly, she does have some sort of atomic farts. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But anyway, let's back to our ranting, and we're gonna be talking about the Blizzard. So, yeah, that shit was absolutely broken and was annoying as hell to deal with, and goddamn PvP community was very angry at Blizzard for coming up with that. Temple of Kog'Maw shit, back to that, was benefiting the burst classes while they stole the design from Rift when it comes to library or Black Garden, but the biggest difference there was that the flag carriers would not do extra damage. They would not take in extra damage. The only thing that the flag carriers would actually do is they have a dot on them. They will tick, for example, starting with a 30k and end up at a 450, 500k tick. Basically, the way it worked is the longer you have it, the higher that tick is going to be on you. So everything was actually equal, and the burst classes did not greatly benefit from it. Now, the reason I'm saying that it's annoying as hell is because anybody faced Abney, which is one of the best RPG leaders in the United States. Anybody faced him and his amazing 4 Destrolux, 2 Mages, Rogue, 3 Healers teams? Just me? Yeah, that shit was... Ooh, yeah, don't even talk about it. Okay, so basically, yeah. Now let's talk about the other things. Moving on to... We're gonna have a Rift and Warhammer and Lineage. But the way I'm gonna make is I'm gonna talk about Rift, I'm gonna then talk about Warhammer, and then I'm gonna come back to Rift again. The few things that was broken in Rift as well. And there's a reason why I actually put a Rift the second. The broken thing was Saboteurs. Basically they try to make a Saboteur who puts like 5 combo points ranged on a target, and then he blows it up, and then puts a 5 combo points again, and then blows it up again, and keep going like that. Now imagine what kind of mechanic it is. All you have is you have to spend 5 globals of building your shit up, and then you have to spend 1 global of detonating the charges on the target. Then you have to spend another 5 globals of building your charges, and then 1 global to detonate it. So imagine this for a second. If everybody has to do a competitive DPS, right? Let's say the competitive DPS would be, compared to our levels right now, is 50k. Let's put it this way. Let's put it 20k in PvP, right? So we're gonna take Affliction Lock with a 20k DPS, right? And over 6 seconds, the Affliction Lock will do 120k damage to a target, right? Now for Saboteur, over 6 seconds, so it's a 20,000 dot ticks a second, which actually sounds very, very good. But anyway, now if we take Saboteur for example, he didn't have any damage going on. He only had this one big explosion. Now imagine that. After 6 seconds, he will explode 120k. After 6 seconds, he was gonna explode 120k. After 6 seconds, he's gonna explode for 120k. Okay, that doesn't sound very overpowered. Let's wrap it up. Let's bump it up to 40k DPS. And imagine, like, basically what I'm trying to say is Saboteurs would take out 60 to 80% of your HP with 1 explosion, because they had to be viable in PvE. And then it would took months and months of actually redesigning that. Then they made them all underpowered, then they buffed it up again, then they made it... Alright, let's not get in there. One of the most broken things in the Rift was actually 2 things. Twinking, it was goddamn annoying when I played it, but it's not the twinking, it's actually the marksman and multi-shot ability combined with Assassin's Poison. Basically what they did is they did like some sort of like a leeching poison that I think leeches your healing that the target is received up to 50%, and basically they would actually multi-shot all the time and applied multiple of those poisons on the same target. So we would see a fucking hunters or rangers, whatever you call them, a multi-shotting with their fucking bows and crossbows, and basically multi-shotting area affecting people to death. They would do top damage, they would almost get to top killing blows by just spamming 1 area effect button, and all the poisons they had would actually heal them a little bit, but the worst part about it is they would actually provide a 50% MS effect. Imagine for a second a multi-shotting hunter tapping damage with a 50% MS effect. Let me reiterate really quickly. Imagine a Howling Blast, the way it does damage right now, would be spammable. I'm talking about spammable. It would not cost, it would just cost a little bit of energy. So, it would, like Shuriken Toss. Like, oh, what? There you go. Imagine a ranged Shuriken Toss with a 50% MS effect. That's what they had a marksman in, and it was stupid as hell. It was broken to shit. But now we're going to Warhammer Online. The very first one is the design of Warhammer Online was completely goddamn stupid as hell. They tried to show it off as a PvP, and that's what the main attract me. But we had this zone, which was stupid as hell. You guys figure out that I like to say stupid. Okay, I'm gonna take my my foil over Chipotle bowl, I think, is the example. You guys ready for it? Okay. So these are mountains. It's a guacamole and steak Chipotle bowl. These are mountains. And it's a PvP. You ready? You hear this out? It's a PvP. So you will have a alliance here. Chord here. And they're separated by Care Bear fucking mountains. That's what was a PvP about. I was raging at it actually very hard. Basically what I'm trying to say is there was no flying mounts, nothing. So if you wanted to PvP, you had to find somehow, be a fucking cliffhanger, climb over the mountain, climb downstairs to get one-shotted by guards. And if you're not gonna get one-shotted, if you had that one really good inch spacing where you won't get one-shotted, that's when you can actually engage in PvP. That's a PvP advertisement. There was a PvP advertisement for the game of two sides clashing and fighting each other that were separated by Care Bear mountains. How did that work? I still have no idea. But that's the main thing that made me rage. And I'm still getting pissed off right now. I'm getting pissed off as I'm talking right now. I'm actually getting very pissed off. If you guys seen a YouTuber called Angry Joe Show, I think I'm gonna start yelling soon. The more memories flowing into my mind right now, the worse I'm becoming. I'm seriously about to start raging. Because there was a developer, a red hat developer, a bold, fat, idiot, piece of shit potato Mongol developer that was an absolute nightmare to any community at all whatsoever. The dude has a boner for pyromancy. Basically, if he would see anything burning, he would probably get the hugest boner ever possible. Because the way he designed the pyromancers in Warhammer, and then he got, I think, fired from Warhammer, or maybe he quit, he moved to Rift, and then he designed pyromancer in Rift, basically almost killed the games. He killed the Warhammer, and then after that it almost killed Rift. And I'm gonna start reiterating on it really quickly. The very first thing I'm gonna say is, for startup MMOs, you have a very small window of not fucking up. I hope a lot of people kind of try to realize that they have to do a lot of testing, and that if people are trying to play the game for PvP purposes, and there's a lot of people playing for PvP purposes, different games like Star Wars and everything. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna talk about Star Wars as well. But there's a lot of people like trying to play the games based on PvP. The worst thing the developer can do is fuck up so badly, make PvP so unenjoyably, miserably, and continue doing this for months and months and months until he basically burns the living crap out of even the die-hard fanboys to the point where they're actually quitting the game and never want to hear about it again. So that's what the developer did to Warhammer. And I'm gonna read it why. The idiot, the fucking pyromancing idiot, came up with an idea called combustion. It's a mechanic combustion where the pyromancer, when he casts, and when I played it, they could pre-combust themselves to 100% full. But the combustion, when they start casting, the pyromancer will take some initial damage to himself, but will do a lot more exponential damage. If we take that, for example, in a Destrolock, we'll take a Destrolock because they fire, they do a lot of damage. Imagine this for a second. A Destrolock mechanic increases damage by like 200%, and then every time he would get a cast, he will cast like 10% of his health points. Let me give you some numbers. Basically, the pyromancers would air effect the crap out of you down to the ground. They will literally air effect dot you with their fucking like dots and shit, fiery dots. I'm not sure what's the name of it, but it was 3 different trees: a burst tree, a dot tree, and whatever it is. So they would do that to you, and you will wipe. You will die like a fucking cracker, and you will rage at the game. And let me example why. Imagine, for example, a Destrolax Immolate ticking for like a 80k. Sounds balanced, right? Imagine a Destrolax Callous Bolt hitting you for 250k with a 1.5 second cast time. Imagine Rain of Fire will have only 2-second cast, like 2-second animation, but will take up 60% of your HP. My monitor almost just died. That's what the idiot came up with. Basically, the damage from a combustion was so big and so disgusting that it just broke any rules of gravity or balance at all whatsoever. Now they were taking damage, so therefore they were forced running with the healers, and they had a shit tons of crowd control, by the way. The most crowd control abilities, of course, it's mages. They have to be, they're squishy, right? Squish. But anyway, it was like this. You would open up, you would get into war zone, you would open up the tab, and you count how many pyromancers are on the enemy team. And if it's more than 2, you lost. And if it's 2, you have 50% of chance of winning. It was miserable because you would face pyromancers all the time. Basically, you'd face a nearly invincible wizards, mages, that would air-effect the crap out of your team almost instantaneously because they could pre-combust themselves. People were howling about that mechanic. They were yelling. They were like crying about that mechanic. They were crying about pyromancers. A lot of people quit. And only after the developers actually stepped in and said, okay, this guy is a fucking mouth breather, he's not a developer, he should not be playing this, developing this game. Only after they actually realized it, the Warhammer was already practically dead as an MMO. And everybody gave like such a bad reputation. The biggest thing is nothing is worth more or less than a gamer's reputation, than a gamer's word of mouth. If somebody's imagine you piss off millions of people, because Warhammer Online had a better initial sense than World of Warcraft. They actually did very, very well as a startup. Now imagine having millions of pissed off subscribers that go anywhere the company tries to advertise their game and shit all over it. Imagine how it's gonna be bad for business. Now World of Warcraft have that, but not to even that great of an extent, to be honest. And World of Warcraft has a big YouTube community. So anyway, that's basically that. Now let's keep going. That red-headed mouth-breathing mongoloid potato actually got hired somehow by Rift, and he designed a pyromancer in Rift. You guys not gonna believe this. This is actually gonna be what the fuck, WTF to the max. So that idiot came up with a design. You're here with me, you're listening to me, right? You listen to my words. That guy came up with a design of a pyromancer doing a shit tons of damage. I'm talking about like 1.5 to second cast firebolt, creating up to 50-60% of your HP. In the beginning was that bad. I'm talking about the actual not off global cooldown finisher that will kill you. The problem I have with the off global cooldown finisher is because you can macro in any abilities, and as soon as you get somebody down below 40%, below 20%, it just instantly kills you. Like imagine off global cooldown finisher, how retarded ability, like okay. But anyway, the worst possible thing is that the guy came up with was sort of like a desecrated ground mechanic. But if you take your DK and desecrated ground mechanic, it gets you out of the crowd control, but you can still be silenced, disarmed, and rooted, right? Or interrupted it. But I mean, if somebody wants to interrupt your army or some shit like that, I never tried it. But what he came up with was the same thing, sort of like desecrated ground, but it would not get you out of the crowd control abilities. It will make you immune to crowd control abilities. It will make you immune. Listen to me, because I'm getting pissed off. It will make you immune to any interrupts, crowd control abilities, stuns, disarms, anything. You ready for it again? It will increase your damage done. It will provide you with a damage reduction. Increase damage done, makes you immune to crowd control interrupts. Does that sound a little bit overpowered to you? Yes, but here's the best thing about it. The shit was spammable. It was 100% spammable. What all pyromancer had to do before kill somebody, it was just come up, put that shit on the ground, and sarcastic, and nobody could interrupt him. Nobody could do anything to pyromancer at all whatsoever unless they want to kill him. That was like, people were just raging. They're like, why did you hire this idiot from Warhammer? Like, come on, history repeats himself. Do not let it repeat itself. Because imagine for a second, a mage will have a 20-30% damage reduction, will do 50 to 60% of your HP damage in one pyroblast. That will be 1.5 second cast on an interruptible ground that you'll be immune to crowd control. Imagine for a second having a pyromancer casting shit right in your face, not kiting, not doing anything the mage is supposed to be, and is immune to any interrupts or any crowd control abilities. Now this is why I'm raging at that developer. Now the developer, the pyromancing loving developer, if you're looking at me right now, I understand that you tried really hard when it comes to developing the game. But I just want to let you know from the bottom of my heart that the only thing that you should be developing is a technique for shoveling shit in a fucking restrooms. That's the only thing that the humanity should be trusting you with developing in your life, because you're a fucking mouth breather. And last one, let's wrap it up with a freaking Lineage. The wrapping it up here with a Lineage goes very simple. In Lineage, everything was based on leveling. It was burning out leveling. It was to the point where you will be sick of leveling. You think World of Warcraft leveling is hard? When I started playing it, I thought it was piss easy. Why? Because anybody feels that it's a little bit too much to spend 1 hour of your life for 2.2% experience. Everybody else thinks that it's a bit too much spending 500 hours for one level. 500 hours? That's like 20 days. Give me 500 hours of workout and I'll increase myself personally in real life by 5 levels of my buffiness. Honestly, it was that retarded. 500 hours for one level. Let me read it to you really quickly. Imagine you working out 1 hour a day. For 500 hours, you can literally work out for 500 days. Imagine what kind of body shape you can actually become. And that's just one level in a video game. One level in a video game. Now imagine how retarded that was. But that was not the most retarded thing. The second one was the casters doing shit tons of damage to you. And they would do like this. They would do like, imagine this. A caster would be, and I'm talking about like literally would be happening this with the approximate cast times. Ready for it? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Frostball 100k damage, sleep. Frostball 100k damage, sleep. Frostball 100k damage, sleep. Frostball 100k damage, sleep. You literally will get like hit, sleep, and you'll be sleeping. You will have you'll be crowd controlled. And I meant 100k damage, sleep, and you'll be continuously like repeating that until you're dead. That was pretty overpowered. That was ridiculous overpowered. There was no PvP trinkets in the game also, and you couldn't do a jack shit if you were like a tank or a melee, because you would get slipped on a lot. The only thing that could actually do is maybe archers because they had a larger range, and maybe rogues because they had a really good upfront damage. But like that's literally was the PvP there. It was like slip damage, and it was you'll be fighting against the people who would had a much higher levels than you because they had no life and they had to grind up a lot in that game. It was irritating. But the winner there goes to actually necromancers. As much as I love dark casters, as much as I think I love necromancers and warlocks and shadow priests and death knights and all that shit, I'm gonna tell you one thing, guys. Necromancers were OP. Extremely. The reason why is, first of all, they had a 50% soul link. Let me read it really quickly. 50% soul link. But that was not the most overpowered thing about them. The most overpowered thing was ability called Anchor. It was very anchoring. It was so anchoring. It was unbelievable. Because that shit would actually paralyze you for 2 minutes. Literally. You'll be paralyzed for 2 minutes. You try to fight somebody and you're paralyzed for 2 minutes. Ever thought one of those videos where there's a fucking ninja comes down with like with the fucking nunchucks, and then the fucking cowboy pulls out the gun and shoots you? That's exactly how would you feel fighting a necromancer, because he would just anchor you. He would anchor you and you will be dead to 3 or 4 shots from a necromancer, but you will be anchored for 2 minutes. Sometimes the necromancer, what they would do, they would anchor you. They would try to like teabag you, and then they will kill you after like 1 minute and 30 seconds. Ridiculous. Imagine for a second, you're stuck, you're anchored for 2 minutes. You're paralyzed for 2 minutes. 2 minutes of crowd control. 2 minutes. Anybody else? Let me repeat again. 2 fucking minutes. Honestly, I think that was the only thing that was more overpowered than the fucking pyromancers in Warhammer and actual Rift. In the beginning of the Rift. Beginning, not right now. Beginning. So that's it. That's my rant list. And there was a few broken things in like Star Wars and everything like that. I'm probably gonna talk about it later on. But that was my things. And for people who play in World of Warcraft, or people who think that World of Warcraft is absolutely boring, stupid, and mindless and stuff, or imbalanced, I kind of challenge you to try to play other MMOs, and that's probably when you realize that World of Warcraft is actually not bad at all. It has their pluses and minuses. I don't get it. I don't understand. You hear me raging all the time. But other than that, the PvP from PvP standpoint, probably WoW right now actually takes a win. Anyway guys, this was my rant. Now I want to hear your stuff. I want to hear what kind of overpowered mechanics you actually faced when you were playing other MMOs or the other games. Please let me know, and thanks for watching this game, my friends, and до свидания. Clicking off.